Anyways, it has gotten to that point right now where a lot of people, which is a lot of palm color people, can actually be able to express their self and then explain to someone that look like me, which are black people, that this is actually what white privilege is and why black folks do not actually have that particular privilege, rubbing it to their face. We are going to be exploring more and deep on that, because a particular friend reached out to a black man and was actually explaining the privilege, rubbing it to that black man's face, why that black man don't need to be so comfortable with every single thing. I'll go ahead and roll out the clip for you guys so that you guys can actually see and hear for yourself. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clip and stitches you have in today's episode. And please make sure you watch from beginning to the end and let me know what your honest opinion will be. Thank you so much for everyone supporting, subscribing, sharing, and commenting. I really appreciate it. And this is just for educational purposes. Let's just watch and I'll be back with commentaries.
I actually had a white friend explain to me how privileged he is and how crappy my life is because of his privilege. You see, it's super interesting to talk to someone and tell them how much better their life is than yours simply because you're black. And as we were talking, now this is coming from a person that meant well, they love me, and, you know, they're a liberal. So they came from this stance of like, it's not fair and it's injustice that I'm going to have these opportunities and I get to do all these things and these accomplishments and meet these people and opportunities because I'm white. And it was just so interesting to see this person talking to me seriously, telling me how crappy my life is going to be compared to theirs. And you know what it made me want to do? It made me want to go home, sit my children down, and look at my daughter and say, life is going to be much harder for you. Your brother is going to get opportunities that you're not going to have. And your brother is going to be able to get achievements and going to go higher than you because simply he's a boy. So aim low, little one. Aim low. That's how silly white privilege sounds.
Somebody watched my last video gonna tell me, white privilege is when a white man could commit a crime and a black man could commit the same crime and get a harsher sentence. Well, if you don't commit the crime, then you got nothing to worry about, stupid ass. Why are you committing crimes anyway? Why are you worried about that? That's your problem. You're worried about the wrong shit. It's not my business if a white man want to put himself in a position of power to take care of whoever he may see fit. Why he get a better sentence than I did? Because it's to send a message to keep you from going to jail. Sometimes you got to set an example. You think I want to go to jail? When I see somebody get a life sentence, that triggers something to me. Maybe I shouldn't do that. For you, it's, well, just in case I decide to do that, why I got to get a hard sentence? That's not the point. Use your brain. If you want change, instead of sitting there and whining and complaining, do something about it. That's what I'm doing. This video ain't for you. You're a bunch of lost niggas. This is for a young man that watched this and says, you know what, he's right. If I want to take care of my own people, I'm going to get myself in position to be able to take care of my own people. Yeah. Why don't you become a damn judge, stupid ass? Then you can free all the motherfuckers you want. I don't think it's a good idea. We already seen you freed this goofy nigga 39 times and he ended up stabbing somebody on the damn train. He should have never got out of jail, huh? Maybe he should have got a harsh sentence. That's our whole community. All we do is worry about the wrong things. I don't know what's going on up there, but anyways, what you black people like to say? Don't hate the player. Just play the game.
Okay, so I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, but it needs to be said. And please know that I am coming from a place of love because I know that your efforts come from a good place. But white liberals, you are not saving the black community. You are holding us back. It's not allyship, it's enabling. You excuse destructive choices, you lower the bar, you hand out sympathy instead of standards, and you call that progress. Here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. We're not the only group with a painful past. Jewish people survived genocide and rebuilt. Asian immigrants came here with nothing and built thriving businesses and schools. We don't hand them safe spaces. We don't rewrite laws to excuse their failures. We don't glorify victimhood for anyone else. So why is that standard different for us? We built an entire system around the lie that black people can't compete, and we call it justice. DEI, affirmative action, safe spaces, watered down schools, and even lighter sentences for crime. That's not empowerment. That's soft bigotry dressed up as compassion, and it's all causing more harm than good to the black community. It whispers you're too weak, too damaged, too broken to do this on your own. And we've accepted that lie for far too long. We don't need your pity. We don't need you to lower the bar. We need to be held to the same standard as everyone else. Because true empowerment doesn't come from being coddled. It comes from being called higher. Charlie Kirk said this over and over again. He asked Black America to stop fixating so much on our race and our difficult history. He encouraged everyone from every background and walk of life to make their past a reference, not their residence. And sadly, his honesty caused him to be labeled a racist, despite the fact that he was simply telling us the hard truth. So here's my challenge for white liberals. Stop lowering the bar for us. Stop designing programs that assume that we can't win without a handicap. If you truly believe in Black excellence, then treat us like the powerful, capable, brilliant people that we are. Stand with us, not over us. Walk beside us, not ahead of us. And Black people, if you're still here, slavery happened, oppression exists, but our history is also full of resilience and brilliance. Research Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington and Madam C.J. Walker. We've been free for 150 years, but somehow we feel justified in marinating in our victimhood while holding a $1,000 iPhone, rocking $200 shoes, and having nothing and no one standing in our way but ourselves. Pick up your mat and walk.
Why do white people resent Black excellence? Let's talk about it. Not all white people are racist, obviously, but there is a specific subset for whom Black excellence seems like a personal affront to them, right? It really bothers them when Black people succeed. The 13th Amendment emancipated enslaved Black Americans in 1865, and then the Jim Crow laws kind of wrapped up with the passing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. So if we do the math, that's about 61 years in which Black Americans were able to strive for success in any sort of meaningful way without like the constraints of the law pulling them down. 61 years. If we compare that to white Americans who besieged a land already owned and occupied by indigenous Americans, we'll put that around 1620 when, the Mayflower came here, then that gives them about 425 years to establish success in this country. 425 versus 61. If we compare those two fundamentally very different time spans, how much did white Americans actually do in all that time? If we were to compare even the poorest and most underprivileged of white America to Black America generally, it is clear that white Americans are born way past the start line, right? By that I mean, by nature of being white in American society, you do benefit from all sorts of privileges. And to be frank, you're not exhausted by the horrible experience of facing racism on a daily basis, right? You do have a ton of privileges. So I imagine existing in this bubble of privilege that you totally deny. The existence of Black people for whom success is like second nature, when it comes so easily and so readily, even though you've only had 61 years to achieve it, I imagine that's exhausting and frustrating. I imagine it makes people feel super, super inferior and hurts certain people's tiny, tiny little egos. And what do they blame that deep, deep psychic pain on? Well, of course, DEI and critical race theory and affirmative action. So I guess the question is, what might help those white Americans who just so strongly detest Black excellence? What will help you? And for that, I would suggest a lot of therapy, a ton of therapy. And I would also just suggest that we open the schools, right? We teach people history. Yeah, maybe? Okay, bye!
I have a theory about why Black women and white women are having such a hard time getting along, and it starts with a story. When I first started teaching, I was in a teacher training program with 3 other women. 2 of them were Black and 1 of them was Indian, and we started teaching at the same school, the same grade, at the same time. One of these women, a Black woman, completely excelled. She did so much better than I did at literally everything. Classroom management, her test scores were high. She was excellent at literally everything. And something about her excellence didn't sit right with me. I just didn't feel good about it, and I couldn't figure out why I didn't feel good about it. It was internalized racism, but I didn't know that yet. So I had to sit with this idea of her being better than me and trying to figure out why it didn't feel good and feel comfortable for me. And of course, at the time, I didn't know that I needed to do the work of anti-racism, so I didn't think it was possibly because I could have internalized racism. I had to do a lot of study and thought about myself and what could possibly be making me feel this way about this woman. And here's what I discovered. Most of the media that I had consumed up to that point in my life had white people as the central characters. And the shows and other media that I consumed that had white women at the central characters often had Black women as the side characters. These black women's role in these movies was to assist the white women, support the white women, advise the white women, but never to rise above the white women. Even shows that were about black women, like The Help, had white women as the central character and the black women as supporting characters. So I internalized the idea that black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it. Now, I'd imagine lots and lots more white women have also internalized the same idea, and that's why they feel okay stealing black women's content and not giving them any credit, because the black women are just there to advise them anyway. But most black women are natural leaders. Society has forced them to become leaders. And so we need to step aside and let them lead, even if it means checking our privilege and letting them lead us.
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in and staying to the end of this particular video. And when I actually started watching all of those clips, I was like, nah. So most of them are using their so-called white privilege to also go ahead to harm themselves. There's a lot of more disadvantage to this their privilege than advantage, as far as I'm concerned, because only few of them are using that to their advantage. And if I keep checking on every single thing that have been happening on daily basis, this privilege have also even caused them more harm than good. But they are finding out in the right stage, and they will keep finding out. Let's talk about some disadvantages of actually being a white, since they're actually talking about privilege, and they're actually looking into some of our black communities to be like, you don't have privilege. This is my privilege. Let's look at it. Why white people, especially in Western society, often benefit from systemic race privilege, there are certain disadvantage that comes with being depending on contents, environment, and mindsets. Number one is cultural disconnection. Many white people, especially in the US and Europe, feel disconnected from their ancestral roots, unlike some minority group who maintain strong cultural identity. White identity is often generalized. White rather than Irish, Polish, or Italian. There can lead to a loss of heritage and sense of belongings. And honestly, I think that is one of the things that is really, really affecting them, because once they check, they don't have any trace of cultural connection. It has just been disconnecting with them. And that is why I said from the beginning that a lot of them has actually lost it, but they didn't even know. They think they are still privileged. Social guilt or pressure. In diverse societies, some white people experience white guilt, discomfort or shame about historical injustice, like slavery or colonialism. They can make open discussion about race emotional complex or lead to defensiveness and fear of being labeled a racist. The third one is cultural isolation in diverse environments. Increasingly, multicultural settings, some white individuals may feel out of touch or awkward engaging across cultural lines, especially if they have had limited exposure growing up. This can limit genuine relationship and understanding of others. Unrealistic societal expectation. In certain society, being white may come with pressure to uphold a certain image, success, confidence, control, or wealth. Failing to meet this stereotype can cause stress or feeling inadequate. Limited awareness of struggle. Privilege can sometimes create a bubbles of comfort, making it harder to develop empathy or resilience in the face of adversities. The lack of exposure to struggles can make real-world challenges feel more destabilized when occur. Backlash in discussion about race. In modern social or political conversation, some white people may feel targeted or dismissed because of historical privilege. This may feel that their opinion or race of inequality are invalidated simply due to their identity. which can cause confusion or resentment. Being white often comes with systemic disadvantage. The systemic advantage, but those advantages can also carry social, cultural, and emotional disadvantage, especially in conversation about identity, privilege, and belongings. And that is why I said this privilege they are always bragging about is even causing them more harm than good. It is the same privilege that is making them to people themselves, and so on and so forth. But anyways, let me know what you think about in the comment section. Credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches we have in our today's episode, and this is just for educational purposes. And guys, with that being said, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And with no further ado, I don't like to say my videos. I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you. Mwah.